and he tells the students, okay, in the course of your life, you will earn lots of money, a finite amount. Put a price on that finite amount of money that you would earn. So I will ask you now, gentlemen who just entered the class, tell us a figure for how much money do you think you will earn in the whole life? Yes. So anyway, so I asked these students, and some students say between 1 million and 5 million, ambitious say 10 million, 100 million. And then I say, dirham or dollar? And that's the thing. And then Warren Buffett says, okay, so today I offer you a deal. I will buy you 10% of that amount, and I will give you cash, and you give me 10% of that amount of your future earnings. And then the students go, oh, wait. And then I tell them, what if you take a course today that improves yourself 5% or 10%? How much money is that? And then they start thinking about, oh, wow, okay, good. This guy is Hasso Plattner. He is one of the guys responsible for the spread and propagation of design thinking, because he founded the design school in Stanford University, which is the school that basically teaches that in the best possible way. He's the co-founder of SAP, so he's loaded. And he says something very interesting too. We spend a lot of time thinking, but we don't spend any time thinking how we think, which doesn't make sense. You spend all your life thinking, but you don't spend, I'm not thinking in an efficient way. Is there a better way to think? Very few people do that. One company that does that is Toyota. There's another thing I want to talk about. This is a workshop in Germany in the summer in Bielefeld University. If you don't know Bielefeld, you may know Dr. Oetker Kitzas. Anybody? Dr. Oetker is from Bielefeld. Anyway, I was teaching the same course in Germany to graduate students. Here I teach it to undergrads. And I was expecting the German students, because they're graduate students, I'm from Germany, I was expecting them to blow my mind, because, higher level, more resources. And I realized that the students here, the undergrads, they are more creative than the German graduate students. That was really shocking. I realized during the workshops, we had a workshop, and I tell them, okay, you have to solve a problem. The problem is how to get people to vote more. So they have to do brainstorming and then use the design thinking method to come up with ideas. And then the graduate students, the Germans, were sketching solutions, and it was not really working. So I went in there and said, well, look, I'll give you an example. So how to get people to get more to vote? So I don't know, put a beautiful supermodel hostess there, and they will come to vote more. And they say, no, we cannot do that. That's sexism. I say, okay, put a beautiful gentleman there. So, no. So I realized they have a very interesting way of thinking at things, very rule-based, don't annoy anybody. And that was shocking of the German mentality. There's this research by IBM and other people, and if you do workshops, you will see that, or probably you've seen that before. When you have a group of 4 or 5 people, there's a thing called group IQ. It measures the group output, and sometimes you can have as we said before, very smart individuals, and the group doesn't perform. And IBM did some research a while ago.
By the way, that's Real Madrid.
Okay, soccer, yes. So IBM, they did this research, and they tested groups of people, and then they changed the combination of people. So sometimes they would put just men, just women, men and women together, and they found out that the best way to increase group IQ is when at least there was one woman in the group. So maybe that's what Real Madrid needs. So that's what we call IQ. So having a diversity of people, it's really interesting.
the scenario rule of the shape also imposing that each board member there should be one woman. So it's a kind of started here too. I don't know if this is for the same reason.
Well, the research is there, so yes. Another thing I like to teach in the courses, this is rugby, but it applies to soccer or football. One of the hardest things to learn for designers is to focus on the process, not the goal. Steve Jobs was good at that. So focus on the process, focus on that your team has the tools and the environment to design or make a great product, not focusing on that product that day. And Steve Jobs was very good at that. He made sure that his team had the tools, that the culture was right. He would fire the people that didn't fit. And
which years though?
Which years?
Before they got rid of him or after? Very important.
He got better with people with the age. That's true.
No, because in the beginning they were saying he was too, let's say he was not so formal with the employees. Mm-hmm. He would tell them, let's go, let's go, let's go. And after 3 years or 4 years, they got rid of him. So basically he decided to change before or after.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to know.
Yes.
But look at this, his success is unbelievable.
Yeah, so one of the secrets is that he makes sure that the team was right, and he would have no problem firing people that think he didn't fit.
I never heard that he was firing anybody.
Okay.
Seriously.
Okay, so yeah. So there's a famous anecdote that they explain in all the MBA courses now, is the bathroom anecdote in Pixar. Anybody knows about this one?
No.
So when he was at Pixar, the first movie they made, Toy Story, was
Excuse me, Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs was at Pixar, yes.
Wow. Continue.
Yeah, so they made Toy Story, which was a great success. And then the company grew a bit more, and they started doing Toy Story 2. And Toy Story 2, it became later a big success, but the original movie was a disaster. And what had happened was that the company grew, and they make divisions. So put the animators here, the sketches.
Decentralized.
They made divisions, and it grew, and sometimes, and what happens is kind of communication breakdown. And what they didn't realize is that the funny jokes in the movies and all these things came from what Jobs call unplanned collaboration, which is when I go to the refreshment room, and I met the guy from the other division, and we talk a bit, and we change some ideas, and then this idea grows into a very good sketch or joke for the movie.
Wow.
They didn't realize that, and when they changed the layout because it grew, they had to. All this broke down. So at the end, they managed to make the movie to fix it, and Toy Story 2 was a big success. And then Jobs said, okay, so they made a new building. And Jobs said, we are only going to have one bathroom for the whole building.
For communication.
Because that will force people to bump into each other.
Unbelievable.
And that's true, you can read it.
And it worked.
It worked. But what I'm saying is that, he didn't focus on, hey, why don't you make a funny movie? He figured, why are they not making a funny movie? What changed? What happened? Let's make an environment where they got it. So it's all about these little details. So focus on the process, not the goal. That's very hard to do. In soccer, you can see the kids, they always go for the ball. Right? When you grow up, you learn a bit more. Same. Okay, so let's do again design thinking. Basically, this is design thinking as the D-School or IDEO thinks what it is. This photo is from Dartmouth College. And you have 4 girls here. Here you can see the main elements of design thinking. You have a problem, you have a board, you have sticky notes, pictures, some materials, bits of information. And what they are doing now is, typically this would be an expert on each thing. Let's say you're trying to solve traffic accidents in Dubai. So you will have an expert, a stakeholder of each part of the problem. A driver, a policeman, somebody who lost someone, and I don't know, the traffic authority. I don't know. You have experts, and each one has a very specialized knowledge, and maybe if they share it, they will get to a better solution. Yes? So how do you organize this? That's design thinking. Something like that, right? So maybe inside each brain, there's part of the solution, and if they manage to connect the dots, they will find a solution. How to do that? With a whiteboard and the Post-its. And then the method, which is a few steps. That's design thinking. But it's all about the details. Like, if instead of this marker, I use a marker like a pen that people cannot see comfortable from 2 meters away, it doesn't work. If instead of this table, the table is bigger, and then they're not close enough, it's all about the little details. Got it? So that's design thinking. Another way to look at this, and that's more advanced, I would say. What's happening here is that the ideas are using the people's brain to combine and emerge into a better idea. The ideas, in the form of Post-its, are using people's brain to combine each other and become a better idea, like evolution. And a typical session would go for each expert would research the topic for 2 weeks, go to interview people, get all the possible information. They will come back after 2 weeks, brief the rest of the team what they found out. Like, we found out that 30% of the traffic accidents is because using the BlackBerry, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Put all this information here, and each expert will do that, and then they will try to do brainstorming. Okay, they do brainstorming, they propose ideas, usually sketching, and okay, let's put traffic lights that are bigger, so people will see a bigger traffic light, so they don't skip it. They do this brainstorming, crazy ideas, and then what they do is they try to combine the best ideas. Like, somebody would say, oh, I like your idea, but what if we, instead of this, we do that, and we combine it, and blah, blah, and then it's usually when a good idea emerges. Yes? That's design thinking. How to do that people don't get angry, that you get the best out of each people, that if there's somebody shy that has a lot of good information but is shy and doesn't say it, how to do that well, that's all in the details. This is a screenshot from a video. You can find it in the iBook. It's a ABC 1999. This is Peter Skillman, the inventor of the Marshmallow Workshop and also chief designer of Nokia a few years ago. He was working at IVO Palo Alto at that time. So here's the layout of a good design thinking workshop. You have a table, these are the experts, and you have chairs with wheels so people can move around. Notice that the people are close, quite cramped. You need that. David Kelly says design thinking is a contact sport. If you put people a bit farther away, communication is not so fluent. It just doesn't work. Very important roles here is the facilitator. Who's this guy? He's the guy that manages the flow of information. He's the guy that feels that when the brainstorming energy is going down, it stops it. He's the guy that when somebody criticizes somebody else, he says, no, you cannot do that. He's the guy, it's a really important role. Very interesting. This guy is not allowed to give ideas because he has so much in his plate. Just managing the people, just feeling the energy. The rest can give ideas. And then there's this guy, look at the people, all of them are like leaning forward.